Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dotun Ayodele of AfricaX. I'm here with you to present to you our show, Level Up. We are all at different points as far as career and progression is concerned. And the goal at the end of the day is to end up right there at the pinnacle, at the very top. Nobody wants to start at the bottom and stay at the bottom. So this evening I've brought to you a resource, a friend, a professional that I have become acquainted with. His name is Imoleayo Ashogbon, and he's a human resources professional. He'll be sharing with us his own experience starting his career, growing in it, the impact of immigration, and then settling and then leveling up his own career here in Canada. Without taking any more time, I would like you to welcome with me, Imole. Hi, Imole, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, my brother and my friend. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me. And knowing you for the past few months has been excellent. And I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate the vote of confidence. So let's just jump right into it. As somebody who's practiced your entire career in the field of HR, speaking to career and career progression is a simple thing for you. But can you just tell us a bit about yourself, your background as a professional?
Okay. All right. Thank you. The concept of simple is relative, we keep learning. I keep
I
learning.
agree with that.
And the point you get to where you call something simple, you should truly be a professor. Even the professor keeps learning, right? So,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I mean, myself, my career, I think I started this journey about 12 years ago. Food concepts back in Nigeria. I was there for about 3 years thereabouts, and I started as an HR associate, HR admin officer, I remember, and later became an HR associate. So I think that period was a good period for me. I think I learned a lot. I had a great boss, a great manager, a great mentor. I still call him mentor. I think he helped me so much in that season. It was not an interesting time. At the same time, it was an interesting time. It was crazy. So I was the HR. I was working for Chicken Republic. I had just one line manager and the HR director. So it was crazy. But within a short time, given all the late nights, sometimes weekends, because I used to do payroll as well, I was able to transition quickly to a higher role, right? Then I joined Cakes by Tosa, top crust bakery, and I was there for a while, and then, there for a while, played around there. I was HR manager, became HR manager at maybe just about 4 years into the profession, and we had about 250 employees, so. But one thing led to the other. I saw a bigger opportunity in a bigger organization. I joined the organization for about 6 months, right? It's called Origin Group. It wasn't the best of decisions, but I'm still grateful for it. And then the last role I had before I came to Canada was Halogen. So Halogen, I joined as an HR business partner. I quickly rose to become HR advisor for the Southwest. And by the time I was leaving, I was the HR manager for shared services. So that was a robust role. Halogen in the West was about 6,000 employees, and I was the manager for shared services. And it was a good time. It was a good, challenging, but very good for my career. I had all the glamour that comes with being a manager back you know,
Particularly back home in Nigeria.
back home in Nigeria. You don't have official cars here, as it were. Maybe you
Mm.
have at a very high level, but back home, at the manager level, you will have. And it was a good experience for me. And then 2017, we decided to move to Canada. Move to Canada. It was somewhat like a downslope, right? Which is part of the dynamics I'll be sharing. But we moved to Canada. I remember I did all kind of jobs. Believe you me, I worked in a warehouse. I worked, did all kind of jobs before I eventually somewhat well, I wouldn't say I started at the base. I was the operations team lead in a recruitment consulting firm in Calgary. Yeah, I had two people reporting to me, though it was basically a recruiter. But they felt I had too much experience to call me a recruiter. So I was managing a team, but I was a recruiter. But I was managing a team. And then one thing led to the other. I got another job at the airport, YVR. I became an HR generalist. Though I applied for an HR manager role, that's another story. I didn't get that, but I got an HR generalist role, which was good enough. It was an HR business partner role, so
Yep.
yeah, and about 400 employees I was supporting. But currently I work with Coca-Cola. I'm the HR business partner for BC. So basically, I'm the HR manager for Coca-Cola BC. I support 12 plants as the HR manager, and yes, that's from a career perspective. That's me. That's a summary of my
That's it.
journey so far.
That's a nice resume. And that tells me that you've been there, done that again, right?
Yeah.
So, with this wealth of experience, can, tell us briefly what was the impact of immigration on your career?
Well, immigration, from where I stand, fantastic.
Yep.
From where I stand, but at the beginning it was not. But I would say to you, and which is some of the critical things I want our viewers or listeners to grab, I'll say to you, I think I was quite clear from the point we landed. I was clear that I'm not going to start from the base. I mean, different news, different information from different places. Some people say you start from the ground zero. They don't respect your experience here. They don't care. You start from the bottom. And I had this belief that I wasn't going to start from the bottom. I understood I could go through a process, which I did go through, right? But like I said, from where I stand, awesome. Because I mean, to a very great extent, I'm back to my career space and the level and all of that. But which is good. But it has been a journey,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't start at the top in that journey. I went through basic things. So, for instance, I worked in the warehouse, did deliveries, did stuffs, and but I knew because I was applying for jobs and I wasn't getting any call. Right? I get maybe one or two calls just to chat, and they see no Canadian experience, and So how was I able to bridge that gap? How you know at that time I started volunteering. I remember I was volunteering downtown for as more like a recruitment advisor in in an NGO right there. And immediately I put that on my resume, the dynamics changed, right? It was then I started getting some calls and all of that. So that's part of the journey, right? But um, in summary, it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yes,
Fantastic.
yeah,
I like the fact that you highlighted the need to recognize that it's a journey.
yeah,
It's not a destination, it's not a place you get to. It's a process you go through.
yes, sir.
And the process still continues because you're not done.
Oh
If I
no,
can put
no,
it
I'm not.
that
I'm not
way.
done. I'm
there's
not
still
done.
there's still plenty to do. There's still lots to see. There's still places to go. There's still roles to take. You
Correct.
know that
Yeah,
kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really thrilled. I'm really thrilled at that particular observation that you've chosen to share.
yeah,
Now, the name of our show is Level Up.
yes.
As a HR business partner, what does that mean to you?
Okay, so as an HR business partner, in clear terms, my job is to um, is to ensure that the operations, the people, the my clients group have the right support that will make them win at the market. Right? The bottom line is they must win at the market. And my job is to create that enabling environment by processes, by policies, by interpretations, by advisory role, right? To ensure that all of those employees bring their very best to the workplace. Or they come to the workplace, um, they don't feel they feel good coming to work, right? And
Mm.
whatever they go through, they know that they have an advocate, they have an independent ombudsman who will be there for them, right? And the managers too, they must feel. My job is to ensure that they are well aligned. My part of the core part of my job is advisory, right?
Mm.
My job is to coach them and guide them. Hey, don't make this decision, or this is a better decision. And don't forget, my job as a business partner is to partner with you to make you succeed at the marketplace. That's just a summary of my job. And every
Mm.
day, for me, it's in three levels, right? I have ER, employee relations, which is what I've explained, and my current organization is unionized, right? So LR is a big part of it, and if
Yep.
you if
Labor
you understand,
relations, I assume that is.
believe you me, in this part of the world, LR can make your life miserable, make your business miserable. At the
Mm.
same time, it can make your business flourish, right? You must understand the dynamics. So integrative relationship, collaborative relationship is critical. So relationship management is critical.
Yeah.
It's premised on knowledge, it's premised on the right approach and the right attitude, and it's premised on that integrative approach that would give everybody a sense of that win-win, right? And that is part of my job, And I tell people HR is not black and white. You finance people, your stuff is black and white, right? But
Yes. One plus one is always two,
always to, but
whether
HR.
it's on the earth or in the moon.
Yes, but HR is not black and white. There are a lot of gray areas. So how do you navigate those to ensure the production goes on right, to ensure the managers manage well, to ensure employees feel whole in every way they can,
Mm.
right? That's part of the job. And another key part of my job is has to do a lot of projects, right? Um, um, at a tactical level, whatever the strategic direction is within my client's group, my job is to ensure that it is implemented appropriately, right?
Mm.
My job is to ensure that it is localized, it is interpreted, and it is carried on as it's supposed to be based on the strategy that is laid out, right? So my job is in different parts, but the center of my job is about people, process, practices, and culture.
Mm.
Right? Yeah, that is.
So, if I want to say I want to build a, I want to tap into a culture that allows me to take my career to the next level. What are the things that I can do as an individual to position myself such that my efforts are recognized,
Mm,
not as me trying to lift myself up, which
yeah.
is effectively what I'm trying to do though,
Mm,
but as me trying to contribute so that I can get the recognition that takes me to that next level.
okay. All right. So based on your question is centered around an employee already in an organization who wants to move to the next level, right?
Yes.
Well, moving to the next level has its parameters, right? I
Mm.
think you always have to start from the purpose. You always
Mm.
have to start from the objective. What is my objective? Why do I want to? Right? You must be able to within yourself clarify. Is it just based on promotion for more money, or is it this is a career path that you're pursuing something, right? You just must be clear within yourself. And once you are clear, um, it's like that part of that wise book that says there's a way to the city. The labor of the fool
Mm.
writes him out, for he does not know the way to the city. There is a way to the city. Whatever
Mm.
city means to you, it can be within the workplace, can be within the environment. You must know the way to the city. You must know how to navigate. And like I said, the first thing is what's my purpose, what's my objective? Because
Mm.
if the purpose of a thing is not known, beyond abuse being inevitable, you'll be tossed to and fro. So once
Yeah.
that is clear, the next thing is, hey, how do I go about it? The the workplace, the work environment is an organization, different parts. The bottom line is it is managed by people, right? And of course, we put processes and stuffs in place, right? They know what they want to achieve for your role. And part of
Mm.
understanding purpose is understanding what is this role supposed to achieve and how best can I achieve it. And the certain things that are within your control. So, for instance, it's in your control to constantly empower yourself with knowledge. It's in your power, your role to keep upgrading yourself, keep learning. There's always a better way to do something. Believe you me, right? And that's critical. Then there's always a dynamics of office structures in politics. It's also critical that you understand what are the structures. Well, the first structure within any system is your line manager. If there's any relationship to invest in with wisdom, is relationship with your line manager, right? And you build relationship most times based on credibility. So when your line manager knows that you're credible, you get things done, you have the personable personality, you're always willing to learn, you ask the right questions and you work on it, right? That puts you in a good place, right? And then you need to also now begin to understand the political system and structure. Either you like it or yes, the most structured environment has a political system in it. There are human elements. We're all political
Yep.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
so you can be ambitious or you can want to grow in your career and not be conscious about that dynamics. Because no matter how much you win, if you don't win with the people that matter, right, you will still struggle. So
Yep.
understand the purpose, understand the structures they put in place, understand what they expect of you, then go the extra mile. That's something very critical. You can't and I say this because I know that some of our audience are not necessarily immigrants or blacks, but I say this to an immigrant community, which I am, and so some of our friends, no matter as long as you're an immigrant, you're not a Caucasian. The truth about it is this that you need to give more to get more. There's no way you can deliver at the level of every other person and expect to be. You need to go an extra mile. You need to give more, right? Because it's what it is. There's this implicit bias everywhere, but proofs cannot be disproved. The quality of your work, the quality of your relationships. That's another thing. You can't disprove it. So that's
Mm.
another critical thing you must know if you must grow within an organization. You've known the structure, you know what is required. Second thing is relationships, right? You must understand what relationships do I need to invest in, right? And um, people know things. That's what I find out. People can
Mm.
say if you have ulterior motive or if you're selfish, if it's just about yourself, people know it. So how do I say this? Be a good person. Or better still,
Okay. Hold on. Let's what you just said now. Let's dimension that a bit. You
yes,
said be a good person.
yes.
Um, how do you be a good person?
Hmm. That's a good question. We're not going to go philosophical, but I'll put it in simple terms.
Yeah,
Let's
as in
let yes,
something I
mm,
need concrete, something
concrete.
that is
You
actionable
yes,
and doable.
yes. You be a good person by willing to solve problems for the other people, for the other party, by genuinely interested in those individuals or those person, and by genuinely interested to solve their problems that is within your space for them, right? And problems is relative, right? There's a structured problem of work, do the work, but sometimes you solve a problem, right, by being personable. So I tell you something. My boss in Halogen before I left, there was one time I received a recognition, and one thing he said to me, I can't forget that statement, and it goes with me everywhere. He said, "Imole, you make me sleep better at night. You make my life easy. You make me sleep better." That was a strong statement. Why? Because I went all the way to solve problems. So, in being a good person, you need to first and foremost be able to listen, to be able to be sensitive to understand what is the problem, what is the challenge this person or this system is going through, and how do I best position myself to solve it. So that's because we can't go from the angle of good person do good and no, but you can't go. But here in a structured place, you have to be able to identify what the every boss, every organization, every structure like somebody who comes with solutions, even when you're not sure. So I worked with a boss years ago. She was a very mean boss, but I learned a lot from her. You come to her, you tell her, hey, this is a problem and all of that. She'll ask you that. So what is the solution? Right? If you say you don't have a solution, she'll ask you, have you thought about this? Right? Have you thought through this angle? Don't come to me without thinking through. That
Mm,
changed my perspective on my life.
yeah,
So you don't
yeah.
go to your line manager or anybody you're working with without thinking through. Even if your options are not the best options, you have to prefer. I mean, You have to provide options and alternatives, and they're able to tell you, okay, let's go this way or let's go that way. That way, they know you are not just a solution, you're not just a problem bringer, you're also a solution provider, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's and another side of it is being personable. So I find that in this part of the world, being able to make people smile and laugh goes a long way. I find that in decision making tables sometimes you hear statements like, "Oh, I like him. He's very nice," or you. I mean, excuse my words, but it's kind of sometimes some things are a bit mundane. There are things that make people make certain decisions, right?
True,
Yeah.
true,
So
true.
either
That what you said right there is very important. The small things have a way of making a big difference.
absolutely
Nobody requires you to smile every day
no,
when you get to work.
no.
But if you smile every day,
Mhm.
some people will like you for it and will take certain decisions that happen to be in your best interest simply because you
Believe
smile.
believe in me, what you just said, Dotun, is tested and trusted over ages. Either you like it or yes. Just because you're smiling and you're pleasurable, you know. I mean, and see, we can link this in a structured way to EQ. And EQ in this
Okay,
context
yes.
is just being aware. You can't be in an ecosystem and not be aware and expect to flourish, right? You need to be aware. You need to be sound as to the dynamics of the environment and people you're dealing with, right? That's
Yeah.
and just being able sometimes just walk into the office or walk into stuff and just throw a chair. I mean, not a chair, but just lighten up the place and just do
Like
something
yeah.
that, believe you me, sometimes those are the things that make people make some heavy decisions just based on some of those things. Yeah, backed up based on credibility, on results, and all of that. But I've been in some forums.
So let's do a quick recap.
Yes.
First things first.
Mm.
Foundation,
Yes.
competence.
Yes.
You
Oh,
can
for
do the
sure.
job.
Yes.
Make it clear. Let it be without a shadow of a doubt
Yes.
that you can get the job done at any given time.
Yes.
How do you demonstrate that? You find a problem, come with a
For
solution.
sure. Yes.
Don't go with a problem. Go
No
with a problem and a proposed
solution.
solution at any given time.
Yes.
Right?
Mm.
Two, networks, relationships. Whether it's your predominantly your line manager is your immediate authority, so to
Authority.
speak. So
Yes.
a good relationship with your line manager is always a good thing,
Yes.
irrespective of
Critical.
location, country, um,
Color,
color. It doesn't matter.
culture. It doesn't
Having a
matter.
good relationship with your line manager is in your interest. End
Yes.
of story. Let's not
Let's not
debate it.
debate it.
Let's just not don't do the
But
same way we are
some,
not
but
debating.
somebody might ask that my land manager is difficult. That should be a topic for another day. But no matter what, no matter how difficult somebody is, you can penetrate anybody. The first thing is the first thing. Be results oriented.
Okay. So the thing is this: even if your line manager is difficult,
Yes.
there's a way to get through to them.
But there is a way.
And part of getting through to them is making sure that the foundation of competence is without
Well
doubt.
established. Yes. Correct.
Right? Now, the third point you've mentioned so far is your personality.
Yes.
Be warm, smile,
Yeah.
be personable.
Yes.
Don't be a grouch.
No. Be
Don't be a
aware.
downer.
No.
Now, actually, I'm going to separate awareness
Mm.
from personality
Yeah.
because it's
That
one
makes
thing
sense.
for you to be warm
Mm-hmm.
and friendly and kind,
Mm-hmm.
but you may not be aware, which means that your jokes fall flat,
Nobody
your
laughs.
smiles happen at the wrong time.
True.
You have a way of showing up at the wrong places with your personability,
Mm.
right? And that becomes a down instead of an up.
Correct.
So awareness is being able to say, okay, you know what, this is a serious issue we are dealing with here, right here. So what I'm doing is profiling potential solutions. Or because I didn't bring the problem and I don't have an opportunity to provide a solution, or I brought the problem, this is the solution I'm profiling, and somebody has provided a better solution. I am just putting my best foot forward at any given time to say, okay, what exactly is going on here? and what is the best way that I can put myself in the best possible light. Not in a self seeking manner,
No?
in an enterprise team seeking manner.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And that
So
fine line is
so
important.
now that you've taken this conversation in that direction, um, how do you deal with people who are your line managers and they're either not expressive or they are just downright mean?
Well, I mean, there are certain people that truly they are downright mean, and they are difficult people to work with. But I find that most times when you see those kind of people in an organization, they are result driven people. That's why, except you're working in an organization that is toxic or the culture is really terrible. That's why you have some very high performers who are mean. They're still there. So you must understand that that's the nature of that person. And everybody has a language. If this person is an high performer and is a mean person, it means that you have to also be an high performer, right? It means that you have to take your competency to another level because the deep will always call to the deep. The language you will understand and make sense to him is the language he can relate with.
Results. End of story.
Result. End of story. So once you're a result oriented person, you take away some of his headaches, right? You understand. You know, that is a critical foundation. The other part of it is there's a fine line, but some people can be mean and they are not insultive. Some people can be they keep the things professional. If you find that that's the kind of person this person is keeping it very professional, is not insultive, is not demeaning, right? He just wants his results. He wants to, yeah, keep it that way. Keep doing it that way. At times, depends on your personality also. So somebody like me, there are certain environments I can't work. I can't flourish in some environment, and it's critical to me. So once I find myself in that kind of environment where I have a boss that is mean or is like that and is impeding my own flourishing, not from a career perspective, but my internal person, right? I'll need to make a decision because there are certain things you can't deal with, not because you're lazy or you're weak, but because it's not worth it. So if that's the situation, then you leave the organization. That's the truth, right? But if the situation is that um, no crossing of line, no disrespect, no, but this person is not just so friendly and all of that. Anybody is penetrable. You just must look for their language, right? You have to
Interesting.
go an extra mile. I find that everybody has something that excites them, no matter what. And some people go the extent to discover it. Some of them is a game. Some of them is something, some of them you find the blueprints on their social media of things that excites them. And you begin to bring up things in a very smart manner to establish that connect, but also know where to draw the line, right? So the line is in two levels. If there's what we call cognitive dissonance, then you might want to take a bow out. But if there's no cognitive dissonance, they're just preferables, right? Things that you probably would have wished if your boss asked you sometimes, how are you doing, and all of those things, or have that warm relationship with you, you know. Then if that's the issue, you can build that. You build that by speaking their language. If their language is first results, you give them results. Then you go an extra mile, right? Nobody, it has been proven, nobody in this world is not drawn to people who make their life easy. You
Yeah,
understand?
that's true.
Nobody. They might not be expressive, right? But you still see that gleam, you see that light, you see that, and you leverage on it from a positive angle, right? And like I said earlier on, if your objective is to make them, is to be kind, if your objective is to solve problems for them, you always find a way. You always find a way. And sometimes it might be as going an extra mile. It's their birthday. People don't necessarily do much with them. Go an extra mile. Look out for what they like. Or you saw a footprint on the social media. Go an extra mile. I've seen people just comment on. I have a friend who got a deal because every time a particular senior boss's boss puts something up, he's always going there to make comments, positive, inspiring comments. This friend is somewhere in Calgary. The moment he needed the right help and the right connect, the woman did not hesitate at all, and she didn't really have a good. People didn't really like her, But because the guy kept at it and kept knocking it gradually, he cracked it, right? So nobody's, no matter how difficult an individual is, you can always crack them if it's needed to be cracked. Because there are some things that it's you that will get cracked at the end of the day. So let's just leave.
Okay. Okay. Now, there are two things I want us to address very quickly. Number one, work environment.
Okay.
As an immigrant transitioning,
Yeah.
what give me one significant difference between the work environment in Nigeria and the work environment here? Something that you know that you had to adjust to as a professional. One thing.
I had to adjust to one thing, just one thing. I think two stands out for me, but let me give you one. Let me call it learning. Let me call it learning. Let me call it education, right? And I call it education because it has two facets to it, two faces to it. Education in terms of educating myself from a cultural point, educating myself as to how do I navigate this environment, what is critical. You can't, it would be a low thinking if you think that everybody is the same or every culture is the same. You are coming
Yeah.
from a different culture, different norms, different morals, different orientation, different perception, right? Different language. You're coming to a new system. You need to educate yourself so you can acculturize well. The system will not adjust to you or for you. You
Yeah.
will adjust to
You
the
will
system.
adjust. True.
Yeah. So it was, and you find that there's everybody struggles at some point, but the moment you have that disposition of what do these people want, or how best. So, for instance, I got a feedback years ago when I just came, and I like the way they put that feedback. They said it was in Calgary. They said, "Mole, you shout. Your voice is very loud, right? But we know that you're not insulting, or we know you're not rude. That is just your voice." Yeah, and why that makes sense to me was because here raising your voice is different from back home. Raising your voice here is regarded as rude, is regarded as this guy is raising his voice at me, but I have a loud voice, right? But because I have
And your loud voice is because you are trained in an environment where you had to be
my
heard, and
my
the only way
bro,
to be heard was to raise
you
your voice.
you get it. I have to be, the horn is blaring everywhere. Office they are shouting. It's what it is. But because I had because in my journey in acculturizing and learning, I had showed love and empathy. I had shown kindness, right? And they've seen it, so they see that this guy is not like he's trying to be rude or insultive, but that is his voice. But when they gave me that feedback, immediately they gave me, I started consciously working on it, consciously reducing my voice and calm myself down so that I don't get misinterpreted. They can adjust to me. So that first part of education, you're in a new system, in a new environment, you must be aware of that reality. There is a way things are done. No matter your irritation, your no matter your ignorance is not an excuse. It only puts you in trouble. But when you have that disposition to how do I navigate? What does this culture demand? Oh God, I'm in HR, I deal with stuff. I see stuff and I'm like, this can't fly anywhere from where I'm coming from. But I dare not even express it in my expression when I'm even having that conversation.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
learn that, right? So that education piece was critical. Then the second part is the education again, But let's leave it at this. Maybe we'll still talk about formal and structured education because that's so critical too as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now, in this has been a very enlightening session for me. Not because there's anything strange and new about what you're telling me, but because you are bringing together bits and pieces of things that I would say typically I don't see together.
Yeah.
Right. So you've spoken about technical competence being the base plate and the foundation. You've spoken about being a solution provider rather than a critic and a problem identifier. You've spoken about the need for you to work on your personality such that you are warm and empathetic. You've spoken about awareness, which you just touched on again while discussing education. Being aware that, okay, I'm in a new place, a new country. The way things are done here is different from how things are done when I started my career.
Mhm.
And to move forward here, I have to uh, unlearn,
Learn.
relearn, and move forward.
Correct.
Now, what is in wrapping this conversation up? What advice would you give to somebody who's at that position where they're like, okay, how I've been here for a bit, and I was a manager back home. I've been at the senior advisor role. I haven't been able to get into management, take my career to the next level, or I'm currently still in the doldrums trying to get back into my career,
Mm.
trying to get noticed. What one piece of advice do you
Right.
think is the I know there's no silver bullet, but the
Yeah.
closest thing to that
All
that
right.
you think if all these people picked up would make a difference for them?
That's a great question, and I always use myself an example. And I belong to a community, where we talk about these things. And so the first thing I'll say to you is the mindset is critical. We've touched so much on the mindset. So the
Mm,
mindset is I'm
mm,
not coming to start from the beginning. It is critical you have that mindset. Another mindset you must have is I have value to offer. I only need to apportion it. I only need to align it. I no need to have a go-to market strategy of my
yeah,
value. I've
yeah.
solved problems. In fact, the reason why they brought us here, either we like it or yes, is come and solve problems. Not at the
Mm,
base level, but at the level with which you are and more. Right? So that awareness is critical. The second part of that is education. Right? Get more qualifications. Understand your industry and understand the relevant education, the relevant qualification, the relevant learning that is valuable because it's a marketplace. There are competitors. What is your differentiating factor from an educational point of view? You must you must give yourself that edge. I know people who've been here 4 or 5 years. They've not done one thing to add value to themselves from a learning perspective. There's no way
mm,
you can go far in a new system because they call it discrimination, but it is what it is. The Canadian has his educational system. He trusts you more if you go through his own educational system. He believes you have more to offer, right? That theory is not always true, but you give yourself an edge. I remember when I was interviewed for this role, I got that clear feedback 3 times. They said, I love the courses you chose to pursue. Believe in me, brother, it was an investment. It was a sacrifice within my wife
mm.
and I. It no easy at all, man, no lie. And we're still in that journey,
Yeah.
but it's an investment because you live in a credit society. And let me explain in simple terms. You are the guru in that, but in simple terms, how credit works. Credit is you borrowing from the future you, what you don't have. Borrowing now from the future you. And if the future you meets the current you and you're still on the same level, you're a poor person. So, in other words, where you're anticipating to go, you must be able to invest enough so that when the future you meets that person, they're not meeting you at the same level. Your level of competency, your level of understanding of knowledge has gone up. So, qualifications, go for it. Any field you are, there are there are relevant certification bodies and field for that field. Learn it and go for it. Bless you. Then the second thing, which is most critical, is networking. Oh God. Believe you
Mm,
me, my brother, your network determines your net worth. It's not a cliche, it's a reality. In Canada, in this environment, I can say this very boldly, right? Networking is a big deal because referral is a big deal. I wouldn't call it nepotism. I don't see that in my own exposure and space. You know, I wouldn't call it that. But I tell you, when someone refers you for a particular position, you are held in higher esteem. At least it
yeah.
grants you opportunity at the table to be heard. You must be able to prove that you can do it, but it gives you opportunity table. And how do you do it? Is by networking. Be active in the relevant platforms. If you're on LinkedIn, be active there. Share stuffs if you can. Comment on people's page. Only positive. My own philosophy is you can't check my footprint and you see any negative positive. It's a personal philosophy. No matter what is negative out there, other people have said what you think you want to say. Be that person that says the positive things. You'll be remembered positively for it, right? Be active. Like people who are making initiative and taking steps, right? Comment positively. Be active. Add people. There are people in your field who have been to where you want to be, where you want to go. They've gone through what you want to go through. Be humble. Reach out to them. Ask, talk to them, right? The highest you get is a no, but you know always
Yeah.
get a no, especially if you go about the right way. Networking is so critical here. Somebody knows what you don't know. Somebody has been to where you've not been. And somebody said that you are just 4 people away from anybody you want to meet in this world. And that is very true. And so I'm thinking if I want to meet Trudeau tomorrow, I'm literally 3 people away from meeting Trudeau. Because I have a friend who's a very close friend to the mayor of Calgary. And that, of course, mayor of Calgary has direct access to Trudeau. So how
I
do I
know.
get to Trudeau? So if I want to meet Joe Biden, I'm actually 4 people away. Because I meet mayor of Calgary. Mayor of Calgary, I through him, I meet Trudeau. Through him, I meet Joe Biden. It's as simple as that. So networking is as critical as anything. You can't be passive about it. You can't be dormant. You must be active about it, right? And I tell you this. I write off with this. There are people at the top there who are looking for bright, young, bright people, or people who they want to pour themselves into, right? And people out there who want to look for people to draw up. Believe you me, they are there. The only thing is they must be sure that you're not going to be a leech. They must be sure you're not out for just what you want to get, right? And that's how I tell people: you look for mentors and all. Don't talk to them about jobs. Mentors are not to get jobs for you. They are to enable you and empower you. When they see you are well aligned, when the jobs come, they will not hesitate to refer you. I'm a testimony to that, right? But you must show value first. So bottom line is, as an immigrant, somebody wants to, you must network internally, externally. Internally, there's 2 levels. There's a mentorship and sponsorship. That's a conversation for another day. But you can't expect that just your proficiency on your job will get you where you want to go to. No. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings. They're making decisions. So it only takes one powerful person to say, no, 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 that guy can't do it. Or no, 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 we don't want that guy. And it shuts it down. And it only takes one person to say, oh, that guy, yes, is speaking for you. Why? You've invested in relationships. You've invested in networking, right? I know we go through a lot, but this is one part that is very critical. You and I have done some very healthy business together. And I'm so proud because, well, how did I know you? Somebody referred you. Somebody referred me, right? Networking. And you don't know what we'll do together tomorrow, right? So you can't be an island. You have to be strategic about it. You have to be strategic at building the right connect. You will get burnt along the way. See, getting burnt is part of the deal. You don't get burnt and say, I'm not doing it again. No, it's not possible. It's just that you will learn how to do it better. The next time, you know how to navigate it better. So, 2 critical things for anybody in the system. Learn, get qualifications, get education. It is needed. No stops. Have the body of knowledge, right? Network right. Have mentors. Have mentors, not tormentors. Have mentors. People who care about you.
Nice.
People who want to pour themselves. People who see value in you. You can see it. You can hear it. Invest in those relationships. It is very critical. And of course, I think the final thing is strategic decision making. It's a skill. It's an act. You need to learn. We need to learn. We need to separate ourselves and learn how to make strategic decisions, right? And create a path for ourselves. You understand? And this value sometimes is self-initiated, but sometimes because of the quality of people we are interacting with, because of the circles we are keeping, they initiate that for us. They help us through that journey, right? But per time we must be able to make sound decision when to jump off a particular boat, when to take a risk, when to say no to certain things, right? And when to say, oh, this is the time I need to, So I think these 2 things, if I stop with just 2, 3 things, I think if we follow through on it, we will get better results. I believe that.
Fantastic.
I like that.
I had to do that because you are that I like the way you just wrapped it all up, as in networking, education. As in that's almost like That's it. Right. So thank you very much for, one, spending this time with me. Two, thank you for speaking as candidly as you have spoken, because in this is value, and it is value that will deliver long term, not just to myself and yourself, but to everyone who is going to watch this video, either today, tomorrow, or in the near future. So, on behalf of our viewers, on behalf of everyone at AfricaX Media, on behalf of everybody backing me and behind this camera, I want to say thank you, Imoleayo, for spending this time, and thank you for sharing the way you have. To everyone, I want to say it's been fantastic having you with us, and I will say enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.
Thank you.